It's time for the Madiba official show. Times are not as we expected in this country. We expected Ghana to be in the knockout stages of the World Cup. But as it stands, we are out of the tournament and we are now going to look at the things, event that unfolded prior to Ghana's participation in our fourth World Cup. And please, if you've not already subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe on this channel for this and many more. And please, if you are an old subscriber, we really appreciate each and every one of you. And for you people to always been there for us is something that we cherish. All that we can tell you people is that may God Almighty bless you for wasting your time, data, and everything in watching us. And please, if you've not already subscribed, as I said earlier, click on the subscribe button, share it for us, and turn on the notification one, so in case of any new video, you'll be notified. And as we always say, this channel is the channel for Ghana football and African football, and everything that involves African football is something that interests us. Now let's move on into our issue for today. Prior to the tournament, I quite remember I did a video about how the top hierarchy are raising expectations of Ghanaians. And that's something that I always preach against, raising expectations towards a major tournament, because that's always been the Ghanaian thing. We will not prepare. We will ourselves, we know that we don't have the materials to do the job, but we will start raising up expectation, thinking that we can enjoy a magic out of nowhere to get the results that we wanted. Prior to this tournament, we had the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ghana, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, raise expectation of Ghanaians. Then also heard that of the Sports Minister, Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, also doing the same thing. And the FA President saying the same thing. And Otuado capped everything off when he granted an interview with Juliet Bawa of TV3. And in that interview, what he had to tell Ghanaians was that his players are capable. I repeat, he said they are capable of defeating any team in the world. So the World Cup will not be far-fetched, and that is coming home. That's what the top hierarchy in this country made us to believe. And some of us were preaching against this, knowing our quality. Because if you had compared this couple of players to that of the 2010 AFCON and the World Cup, you may make a mistake, because you can draw a parallel line between that team and this team. The team that went all the way to the quarterfinals in 2010. One thing that was significant was the fact that in that same year, 2010, the same players that played in the AFCON final and lost by a goal to nil in Angola to Egypt, in the quarterfinal game against Uruguay, we have 7 players starting that game for Ghana. So what it means is that we went to the AFCON, we did well, and we transformed that form into the World Cup, and we got some few players to augment the already Bremen players that are playing with confidence. And we got Kevin Prince Boateng, and with his inclusion, the midfield, we couldn't even miss the services of Mike Essien, because Kevin Prince Boateng had the quality to replace that is Michael the Bison Essien. But this time around, we went to the AFCON and we totally disgraced ourselves in a group with Gabon, a group with that is Comoros, a group with Morocco. We couldn't qualify. Even with 3 teams qualifying from our group, Ghana ended up being the last team of the group. So if we couldn't qualify from a group with Comoros, a group with Gabon and Morocco, how then were you expecting to qualify in a group of Portugal, South Korea, and Uruguay? Going to the World Cup, looking at your rankings on the FIFA rankings, that one also made something that you shouldn't even go in the World Cup with that optimism and that expectations that you are going to do one eventually win the Mundial. and we preach against all this, but yet still we have this our people leading our football in our country, always trying to raise expectations while they know we're not doing the right thing. Elsewhere, people go to tournaments fully prepared, and even with that, they try to lie low and see where they reach in the tournament. And this is something that for me going forward, we eschew and stay away from it. There is hard time that we call a spade, not just a big spoon. Because as I said earlier on, we saw most of the national team going to the tournament, how well they were prepared. Qatar, for instance, they break their club football way back in September, preparing for the tournament with the national team. Even with them, they couldn't qualify from their group. Whereas our coach was in Germany, busy doing his job as a scout of Dortmund, whilst we were here preparing for the tournament, waiting for our coach to come and name the players that will participate in the tournament for us. So when will we learn from this? Kotoko, Folk always do the same thing, and the Black Stars too repeating the same mistake. So now going forward, when we are going to the tournament, we should at least try to lie low. Let the Ghanaian faithful know how things are on the ground before going to the tournament. It's hard time we tell these our people. We don't need this. That's the reason why at times they come up from tournament and Ghanaians will just rise up against the national team. It's because of some of these stuff that I'm talking about. Raising up expectation once you know you don't have the quality to do so. In the AFCON, the last time that Ghana won a tournament, a big one aside, was way back in the year 1982, 40 years ago to be precise. That was the last time that Ghana won a tournament. In the World Cup in 2010, we always talk about the quarterfinal and Luis Suarez handling the ball. But in that tournament, as I said earlier on, we had a couple of players that came from the under 20 team. So they moved away from the under 20 to the senior side. Obokwa Jemai, Sama Inkum, Adman Badu, Andrea Yu, Dominic Edia, all these players, Jonathan Mensah, Daniel J. These players were part of the under 20 team of Ghana that lifted the golden diadem. That was the first time that a team that didn't come from either Europe or South America were able to lift the under 20 World Cup. So with that players and that success that they chalked up, they had the quality to compete in the World Cup because they were going to play against players that they met in the just ended under 20 that they won in 2009. And they also reached the final of the 2010 AFCON. And even with that, we went into the tournament with little expectation that we reach the quarterfinals and eventually reach over there. So it's high time our people going to tournament, we should try to minimize and lower our expectations. Let me know your thoughts on how Ghanaians always go about going to tournament. We go to the tournament, raising up expectation, and eventually we go there and falter. Thanks for joining us for today's version of the show. If you like it, kindly leave a comment and also share, like, and also make sure that please you turn on the notification button for these and many more. Thanks. Bye-bye.